Hello, Virtual English 4 students, and congratulations! You made it to the final speech. The persuasive speech is our final speech that you'll be doing. And so let me just pop up this handy dandy keynote and we'll talk about it. So persuasive speeches. So a persuasive speech so first off, a warning. Some people may have differing opinions from your own. Although you disagree with their opinion, you will respect their opinion in my classroom or in my digital classroom. So all because someone has a differing opinion, that does not mean you have the right to treat them poorly on both sides. Like whatever side it is, you do not treat them poorly in here. This is a room of ideas, or this is a website of ideas. And so, and we're going to interact with those ideas respectfully. So essentially what a persuasive speech is, you're picking a side of an argument and convincing the audience why you are right. This could be something silly like chocolate versus vanilla ice cream, or it could be something more serious like the death penalty. Or your persuasive speech could be alerting the audience to something they don't know about and convincing them to do something about it. So this could be give money to a certain charity, or it could be disagreeing with a certain policy that's in place. Essentially, you're justifying your position. That's all you're doing. Just here's my position, and I'm justifying why I have this position and why you should be on my side. Now, most of the time, whenever we do this, we are doing this through using certain appeal types, such as logos, pathos, and logos. Those are the three main ones that we have. It's classical Greek rhetoric referred to. So logos is just logic, the facts, statistics, numbers that you use to support your argument. Pathos is emotion, trying to play with emotions, make them happy, make them sad, make them angry. That's what pathos is. And then ethos is credibility. How much can we trust you, or how much can we trust the information that you're bringing us? And usually we can't necessarily trust you, but we can trust like the experts that bring in. You also can build your own pathos. Like if I was to be talking to you about something when it comes to teaching English, or to literacy, I would expect that my pathos, my ethos would stand for itself. But if y'all didn't know who I was, I'd probably talk about how I've taught English for 10 years. I have a master's degree in English education. All those things would help establish my credibility when it comes to literacy. All right, persuasive style. There are a couple of different styles that you can structure this particular speech. You have the logical style, the comparative advantage style, or the motivational style. The logical style is similar to the informative speech and papers you've done. You have an introduction, you have 3 reasons that support your thesis, and conclusion. Now, the order of ideas is the key here. You could either end with your most important idea or lead with your most important idea. I would recommend leading with your most important idea because most of the time, people will tune out as they are listening. They'll listen to you at the very beginning, but as you keep going on and on and on and on, they won't listen to you as much. Then you have the comparative advantage style. This is where you start off with quo. Here's what we have now. And then how to change the status quo. Here's the change I'm recommending we make. How is the change superior to the status quo? And then why the change is superior? Why is the change superior to the status quo? So you demonstrate that through evidence of why your change is better. So here's what we got. Here's what I think we should have. Here's why it's better. Then you have the motivational style. You start off with an attention getter. You establish a problem, a need to fix. Then we provide a satisfaction proposal to the fix, and we visualize it. Here's how we fix it. And then you appeal to action. Let's go do it. Let's go fix this problem. Let's talk about introductions for a little bit. Some of y'all's introductions are not that, and so we're going to talk about how to make them better. So a thing that you might want to consider using is an attention getter. So you can start off with a story or a stat or fact, a statistic or fact. You build your credibility with the topic, or you can, and then go into your thesis, which is your main idea. Most of y'all start off with, hi, my name's Paul, and I'm going to talk to you about pens. This is an orange pen. No. Start off with a fact, start off with a story, get the reader or get the listener invested, pique the listener's interest, just like whenever it comes. Now, here's an example. We're not going to watch the example because YouTube would take down my teaching video here, but I will post it on Classroom below in the comment, or not in the comments, but in the assignment, I'll post the example or the link to watch the example. She does a good one. It starts off only one direction, but it takes a quick left turn that turns a lot of people off, but it's an effective introduction because it makes you think about what she's trying to talk about. Now, here's the bigger issue. Like I said, most of y'all, like, introductions, I'd say is 50-50. Conclusions, I'd say maybe a quarter of you do a good introduction. Because most of y'all just say, all right, I'm done. That's it. Bye. No, that's not a good conclusion. Here's how to do a conclusion. You need to restate your thesis slightly differently. You need to do a brief retelling of your speech. You summarize the main points, but don't repeat everything. And you go out with a bang. Leave the audience on a high or leave them on a low. Here's an example. It's the same lady, but different topic. Same lady, different topic, but she shows you how to do a conclusion quite well. So if you were like, man, I don't agree with that type of thing after that one, she's talking about something different. And in honesty, like the conclusion, she just shows you how to do a conclusion in a proper way. Now, audience. You need to understanding the audience and identifying the audience is key for this particular speech because you're trying to persuade somebody. You're trying to persuade the audience. You're trying to persuade the people you are talking to. So understanding them is key. How does your audience feel about the topic? Now, if they're positive, then you're reinforcing your position. All right, everybody agrees with me. So we're just going to continue preaching to the choir. Here's why we need to keep it up. If they have no opinion, ask yourself why they have no opinion. Do you need to inform them, or do you simply need to make them actually care about it? And then hostile. If they are a hostile audience, use vinegar. Don't go and poke the bear. You need to find common ground and kind of bridge that gap. You're not necessarily going out to swing hairs and just cause a kerfluffle. No, you're trying to bridge the gap, mend the rift between the two sides. So you need to, if it's a hostile audience, you need to make sure you're not going in like trying to rip people's eyes out. Even if you don't agree with your audience's viewpoint, you must understand why they have it, because that's the key to persuasion. You need to understand them in order to have a better idea of them to your side. Freedom of choice of the audience. Allow the audience to think and believe what they want. Don't tell them what they think and believe is stupid. It will not work, because that will not work with you. Don't convince them. If you just go out and like, they're dumb for believing this, they're not going to pay attention to it. They're going to shut down. You need to find that common ground. Don't be a hypocrite, by the way. If you talk the talk, you must walk the walk. Your own actions, beliefs, values, and behaviors must align with what you are talking about. So the example here would be like if you're giving us a persuasive speech over how we need to ban vaping, and then your Snapchat tag is vape bro 420 YOLO swagster. Yeah. And we know what you do in those strip malls all the time. I'm meaning because that's where those places are located. Y'all kids, don't twist my words on me. But yeah, don't be a hypocrite. Make sure what you say is what aligns with who you are as a person. Credibility, audience belief of what you have to say. How do you have the right to change their mind, change their opinion on something? You have it because you have the proper evidence. You cannot rely on your opinion alone. So actually, I'm going to stop sharing for a second and I'm going to pop out here. So here's a big thing that we need to talk about. So your opinion is essentially this thing called a claim. We're going back to this thing called Tolman rhetoric, Tolman argumentation. And so basically your opinion is this thing called a claim. And you really it really needs more stuff to help keep it like cemented to the ground, to keep it like sturdy. Without the claim, a single blow of wind can push it away. That's why you need these things called evidence and warrant. So evidence is just the information you bring in to back up the claim. The warrant is kind of the glue that glues it together. The warrant is, how does this evidence support this claim? Now, sometimes you don't need to explicitly say what the warrant is because the connection works. But if that connection does not work, and most of the time where an argument kind of falls apart is because you have a weak warrant that you haven't necessarily explained. You thought the evidence would carry it, but it's not carrying it. So that's what we're talking about. So when evidence, you cannot rely on your opinion alone. That's what I'm talking about. You need to have evidence and a warrant to back it up. You need to make sure it's recent evidence, which would be more impactful. A study from 1968 or 2013 would make sure the evidence is relevant. Don't just throw evidence and tell the audience, but tell the audience why the evidence is relevant to your topic. All right, where are we? We are not here. We're here. All right. So here's another speech I want y'all to watch. This is a full speech, and this person does a really good job. It is a persuasive speech, and it is a good example of persuasive speech. Please pay attention to the speaker's hand gestures, his eye contact, his voice, his introduction, and his conclusion. He does all those things excellent. And so this will once again be linked in Classroom, but it is hands down an excellent speech. All right, so picking a topic. Pick something that you feel strongly about. If you don't feel strongly about your topic, how are you going to persuade the audience to feel the same way? Students say sometimes, but I don't feel strongly about anything. Yes, you do. Sit down with a piece of paper and brainstorm. If you like baseball, give a speech for or against salary caps. If you like rap music, give a speech on why rap music isn't as violent as people think. You get the idea. I have a bunch of kids doing Chevy versus Ford. That's a persuasive speech. Some kids doing it over why my team's the best team or why this rapper is the best rapper of all time. Those are persuasive speeches. Those count as persuasive speeches. So you can find, if there's something you like, you could usually find something that is debatable within that you could do the speech over. Now, I would recommend that you avoid hot button topics. Don't pick something you feel too strongly about. Hot button topics are issues that you feel so strongly that it's hard for you to consider where the other side is coming from. And understanding the other side's point of view is key for this speech. In order to give a good speech, you need to understand their point of view. Else, how are you going to change it? All right. Pick something controversial. It doesn't have to be extremely controversial, but you need to present a topic that not everyone agrees with. Otherwise, there's no persuasion going on. It's not a very good persuasive speech. For example, don't give a speech on why smoking is bad for your health. Who's going to disagree with that? Instead, try and giving a speech for or against the citywide smoking ban. And now you have a controversial controversy and a super topic. Pick a current event. If you're having trouble thinking of a topic, go read a newspaper, see what's going on in the world. If there's an election, endorse a candidate or a ballot. You can, the dual credit class, the professor said, hey, go check out podcasts. That technically would count too, to what the current atmosphere of the world is talking about. I like Reddit. Reddit also kind of discusses like the events of the world, the news. I know you all hate the news and whatnot because y'all don't know how to actually read the news, and y'all think that biases is bad, but biases are natural things that you cannot control. And so you just have to learn how to intake multiple sources and not just get your news from one particular place. And that's the key to it. And that's why no news is fake. I'm sorry, I digressed. Basically, just like pick an event that's currently going on in the world. All right, pick a campus or a local issue. Is there issues around campus? Are there issues in your town? Are there, these are topics that are relevant to your audience members as well. I've had kids do it over like open campus lunch, uniforms, you know, that type of stuff. I've had kids do it over the school resource officer. One of the better ones that I've had is over the school resource officer. Should we have one or should we not have one? That's a good topic for, in case you were interested in doing that. Pick an issue of interest to the audience. Give a speech about cell phones or music streaming or tuition hikes, something the audience cares about. If they don't care about your issue, then you won't persuade them. Sometimes an issue can be too big, too large. So you might want to consider picking a smaller part of a bigger issue. Don't try to change people's minds about a huge issue in a short speech because you can't. Think about, can you change your classmates' minds on abortion in 3 to 5 minute speech? Of course not. However, you might change their minds on a portion of the issue like parental notification laws. Now, be cautious with issues that some audience members might find offensive. Speech topics that some students might consider to be racist, anti-gay, or something along the lines of that are not great topics. Think about this. The object of the speech is to persuade your audience. If some of your audience members feel offended on a personal level, they sure aren't going to be persuaded. I'm a huge advocate for free speech, but you might want to consider finding another outlet to express certain ideas than this particular assignment. All right, so that is the persuasive speech. Best of luck on it. I'll have another assignment posted here in a second that is associated with this, unless you're doing that one first and then you encounter this one because, time in the internet. But persuasive speech, just basically in a nutshell, you are trying to take an audience and convince them to come to your side. That's all I got for you for today. I look forward to seeing these. I've really enjoyed watching y'all speeches, and until next time, later. Bye.